Imagine a world with absolutely no problems, no hunger, no predators, no disease, a place where the weather is always perfect and every need is met instantly. It sounds like heaven, doesn't it? But what if I told you that this heaven was actually a death trap? In 1968, an ethologist named John Calhoun tried to play God. He built a perfect paradise for mice to see what would happen if all their problems were solved. He called it Universe 25. He expected a thriving civilization. Instead, he watched them tear each other apart. Within a few years, despite having unlimited food, the entire population went extinct, not from starvation, but from madness. Today on the Vist, we are entering Universe 25. Before we understand the collapse, we must understand the box. John Calhoun wasn't crazy. He was curious. He wanted to answer one question: what happens to a society when the only limit left is space? He built a massive tank in Maryland, 2.7 meters wide, 1.4 meters high. The walls were unclimbable. The temperature was constantly 20 degrees Celsius. It was designed to support 3,840 mice comfortably. There were 256 nesting apartments. It was a luxury hotel for rodents. No cats, no traps, no cold winters, just pure comfort. Calhoun called it a Mouse Utopia, but in reality, it was a prison of abundance. It began with 4 pairs of mice, 4 Adams and 4 Eves. Calhoun called this Phase A. For the first 104 days, these mice explored their new world. They realized they were in paradise. They adjusted to the environment, built their nests, and bonded. Then came Phase B, the exploitation period. The population exploded. Every 55 days, the number of mice doubled. It was a baby boom unlike anything seen before. Families were large, healthy, and happy. The tunnels were filled with the sounds of a thriving community. At this point, Universe 25 looked like a massive success story. But exponential growth is a dangerous thing. By day 315, the population hit 620 mice. The growth began to slow down, not because of food shortages, but because of social pressure. Imagine living in a mansion, but suddenly hundreds of relatives move in. Physically, the box could hold 3,000 more mice. But socially, it was full. Young mice, who would normally leave home to find their own territory, had nowhere to go. They were stuck. They couldn't immigrate. They couldn't explore. They were trapped in the main square with hundreds of others. The social fabric began to tear. Stress levels skyrocketed. This is where Calhoun coined a terrifying term, the behavioral sink. It describes the collapse of behavior due to overcrowding. In a normal world, mice have roles. They protect territory, they gather food, they raise young. In Universe 25, all these roles vanished. Why protect territory when the cage belongs to everyone? Why gather food when it's free? The mice lost their purpose. Without purpose, they became lost. They started gathering in large, meaningless crowds in the center of the pen, waiting for something that would never happen. The breakdown had officially begun. The first sign of madness was violence. Dominant males, unable to defend their impossible territories, just gave up. Or worse, they became hyper-aggressive. They started attacking everyone, females, infants, the elderly. It was senseless rage. Calhoun observed mice with tails bitten off, covered in scars. Weaker males, the social outcasts, withdrew completely. They would huddle in groups, covered in wounds, shaking from stress. They weren't fighting for food or mating rights anymore. They were fighting just to exist in a space that hated them. If the violence of the males was bad, the behavior of the females was catastrophic. In nature, a mother mouse is a fierce protector. But in the stress of Universe 25, maternal instincts were erased. Mothers would become aggressive toward their own pups. They would kick them out of the nest before they were ready. In some horrifying cases, cannibalism occurred, even though the food hoppers were full of pellets. The concept of family was destroyed. A generation of young mice grew up without love, without social training, and filled with trauma. Amidst this chaos, a strange new class of male mice emerged. Calhoun called them the beautiful ones. These mice withdrew from society completely. They didn't fight. They didn't court females. They didn't mate. They did only three things: eat, sleep, and groom themselves. Because they avoided conflict, they had no scars. Their fur was sleek and perfect. They looked healthy, but inside, they were empty. They were narcissists. They lost the ability to handle any social interaction. They were the ultimate end product of the utopia. Physically perfect, but socially dead. Then came Phase D, the death phase. The population peaked at 2,200 and then crashed. Why? Because the new generation, the traumatized rejects and the narcissistic beautiful ones, didn't know how to reproduce. They literally forgot how to be mice. Even when the population dropped and space became available again, they didn't go back to normal. The psychological damage was permanent. The last conception took place around day 600. After that, zero. The colony was just a nursing home for aging, lonely, crazy mice waiting to die. In 1973, the last resident of Universe 25 died. The paradise was empty. Calhoun repeated this experiment multiple times with rats and mice, and the result was always the same: extinction. It proved that you don't need famine or disease to destroy a society. You just need overcrowding and the loss of social purpose. Calhoun wrote a chilling conclusion: the death of the spirit comes before the death of the body. The mice had died in spirit long before their hearts stopped beating. So why does this matter to us? We aren't mice, right? Look at our modern world. We live in megacities, stacked on top of each other in high-rise apartments. Yet we report higher levels of loneliness than ever before. We see the rise of the hikikomori in Japan, young men who withdraw from society, much like the beautiful ones. We see declining birth rates in developed nations. We have unlimited food, unlimited entertainment, and unlimited safety compared to our ancestors. Yet, are we thriving? Or are we showing the first symptoms of the behavioral sink? Universe 25 is a warning from the past. It tells us that survival isn't just about food and shelter, it's about purpose, connection, and struggle. Maybe a perfect paradise isn't what we need after all. Maybe we need challenges to remain human. What do you think? Are we living in our own version of Universe 25? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that subscribe button. This is the Vist, documenting the timeline of our world. Thanks for watching.